I would like to call the August 11th, 2022 meeting of the, special meeting of the Delaware County Land Reutilization Corporation, also known as the Land Bank, to order. We have two items to discuss in today's meeting. So we will start off with the Ohio Department of Development Building Demolition and Site Revitalization Program Grant Agreement and Discussion. As I think everyone knows, we received a revised agreement, I think it was about a week ago. And it has a tight timeline to get it approved and signed and back to the Ohio Department of Development. We have had our legal counsel review it, and short answer, Scott Gordon, our legal counsel, is not available today. He's at a hearing, but he did send an email saying that he approves. He thinks it's, I'll read you the exact wording. I do not have any concerns with the new agreement language nor the Land Bank's approval of the same. So anyway, I'll open it up for discussion and comments.
Well, I think, you know, the concerns that we had about some of the issues that dealt with properties being subject to this historical review provisions, some of the issues around the timing of when things are due versus what the program guidelines say, prescribe. And then the program income, I didn't see much there that changed that gives us much of a relief from anything, although I don't think we're probably going to have anything to worry about there. To my knowledge, we're not going to be billing fees or anything, so it's kind of a non-issue. But
Yeah,
I thought the way they revised it, for the most part, was positive from our perspective.
Yep. Yeah, in Scott's email, he said the historic waiver requirements have been narrowed, and for the projects which I'm aware of in our county should make approval of the proposed demolition significantly easier, i.e. they eliminated the 50-year-old building triggering requirements. So that, I agree, it should make it easier. Any comments?
I agree. You looking for a motion?
Yeah, I mean, again, we can always debate whether we refuse to sign the agreement as is, which I don't think would be very fruitful.
I was curious, any comments you had, Dave?
Yeah, I'm curious
I agree
what Dave and
Dave
Diane.
was saying, and we provided at least to the board our technical review document. I think it's a lot of what we had talked about, I think, coming out of our last meeting with respect to the State Land Bank Association having their meeting with DOD. We'll take anything that makes it a little easier.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We have done an initial review, Diane and I, on the historic component for our projects and with respect to what it says in here, and we may have to provide some documentation to SHPO. We may not, to be determined, but I think I agree. I think it's gonna be, should be easier.
Manageable.
Yeah. Yeah, again, I appreciate Diane and your time you spent on that to review it, and as always, Diane's and your comments have been very helpful in reviewing the changes. They weren't, other than probably the historical building issue, they weren't really significant changes, I don't think. But so yeah, I guess unless somebody wants to, I don't think it'd be good to try to negotiate with the ODDOD with a I don't know, 4 or 5 days left before the deadline to sign this and
So
send it
you're looking
in.
for a motion?
I would be glad to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that the Ohio Department of Development Building Demolition and Site Revitalization Program revised grant that we received a few days ago, I make a motion that we move forward with it. Second.
I guess I would ask that the motion include the option for the chair or vice chair to sign it.
I have no problem with that. Chairman or the vice chair signed it, add that to my motion.
Okay.
Second that.
Second, Mike.
Makes it a lot
Second by
easier.
Mr. Schuling, yeah. Any further discussion? Let's take a roll call, Sarah.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Eflin?
Yes.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Schuling?
Yes.
Mr. Stage?
Aye.
Okay, that is item number one. Item number two is signing and submitting of the representation letter to the state auditor. Just by a little bit of background, the land bank is being audited this year by the state, and a routine part of their audit is to have generally the treasurer and the chair sign what's called a representation letter. And again, it's pretty boilerplate. And I think at the June, maybe it was the May meeting, we discussed having a chance to review that management letter, which has been sent out with the board package. So, and again, very routine. I've probably signed 100 of these things over the years with the various roles. So, anyway, it has been distributed. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to review it, have any comments on it? But we do need to sign it and send it
Well,
back.
I have some comments on the proposed draft report. I mean,
Yeah,
it, it doesn't add a lot of value to what we're trying to do. I mean, you know, the fact of the matter is, they spend all their time talking about the fact that we don't have a policy for responding to access to records. And frankly, I hope that we don't consider spending a lot of money with our attorney to do that, because it seems to me like we could take the counties and adopt it and we're done.
I think that's pretty boilerplate.
yeah.
That's an excellent point.
So, I guess unless somebody has concerns, I would ask for a motion to give the chair and treasurer authorization.
I'm just, to David's point, we ought to ask Scott to put something together as far as addressing the documents and how we handle that, so, but
Yeah, I just, you know, I don't want him to have to spend a lot of time that we're gonna get billed for. Because like I say, I think we can
Yeah.
take what the county's used and adopt it, and we're done.
well, maybe we should.
No, again, that's not one of the topics of discussion
Okay.
today. We do have an upcoming exit meeting scheduled, at which point those would be, I think, relevant topics to discuss. So.
So you need a
Motion?
I'll make the motion, signing and submitting a representation letter to the state auditor. Make a motion that we do that.
Either the chair or vice chair.
Well, actually,
It's
He said-
chair and treasurer, I'm sorry.
Yeah, right.
Chair and treasurer in
Yeah,
this case,
yeah.
okay.
He said that,
I'm
I
sorry,
repeated
okay,
it. so.
yes.
That's the reason I was reluctant to make the motion, since I just wanted to,
Okay.
but I kept waiting.
okay.
Do we
Is there
have a second? Sorry.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's do a roll call, Sarah, please.
Mr. Eflin?
Yes.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Schuling?
Yes.
Mr. Stage?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Aye. Okay, that is it for today's meeting. Unfortunately, I know Director Stage had wanted to discuss the Ashley properties, but that was submitted after the 24-hour deadline had passed. So unfortunately, we can't discuss that because this is a special meeting with limited agenda items. So I apologize, we can't really discuss it. But I can share a piece of information, just FYI, we can't discuss it, but just FYI. I did talk to Deputy Auditor Mike Ringel yesterday, and he said they intend to move forward with a auditor's auction of those parcels. So again, can't discuss it, but I can share that information. Now, depending on how things go, we can add that to the next land bank meeting agenda and consider it that way.
When is that meeting going to be held?
Well, you know, getting these meetings together with everybody's busy schedule is a challenge, but I was hoping that the next meeting we would be able to cover the actual DOD grant approvals and get that. Because, yeah, I mean, because again, we're waiting on that, and that could come any day, probably should have been here by now. So that would be topic number one, and then Ashley parcels, you know, the review of the financial statements. We've got a number of topics, but I'd rather wait, since those approvals are due any day. I'd rather wait until we get them and can have
No, I don't want to, I
a productive meeting.
prefer not to wait till September, because we've already burned say, 8 months of our, 7 months of our grant time frame, even though they didn't approve anything until 7 months into it, but.
Yep, it is we have to exercise patience when we're dealing with the DOD.
The other thing, the information that I sent out regarding the Village of Ashley was the resolution before adoption. Can I give you all, board members, the actual executed resolution? It's no change, no substantive change.
I mean, you can distribute that, certainly.
Your permission, I'd like to do that,
Yeah.
even if we're not gonna discuss it.
Yeah,
We don't have a new business item that we can.
Yeah, again, there's no discussion at this
Mr.
point.
Chairman, did the auditor tell you when this sale is scheduled for?
They have a process they have to go through, you know, with notifications
Yeah.
and then setting an auction date, but they had not done that yet. So, but they intended to do it soon, is what he said.
We need to talk to the auditor then, because that leaves the Village of Ashley with significant exposure if the auditor goes that route.
Yeah, again, can't discuss it.
I know, but I'm just
Just
saying.
FYI, that's what they told me.
Okay.
So,
Mr. Chairman, I also sent to you and our attorney a draft of the intergovernmental agreement we had
Yes.
talked about for grant services,
Great.
assuming DOD approves our project,
yeah.
for review, and obviously we may have to have a special meeting depending on the timing for that.
Yeah, exactly. That's another one of the topics for the next meeting, whether it's a special meeting or whether we're gonna incorporate a regular meeting.
Because my city manager and attorney advised me that does have to go to city council too. So
Yes.
we have to take a step. So that might be another, I guess we don't know all the timing of that yet.
Yeah, Scott should have received it. I think you sent it to Scott too.
Yeah, it was just yesterday, so.
Yeah. Yeah, so Scott should have received, he said he would review it as soon as he got it, so. We'll hopefully get feedback from him in the next day or two. But that would be another topic for the next meeting. Hopefully, we can have that very soon.
We don't have another regular meeting scheduled yet,
No,
right?
no. Because again,
I guess I should look at some.
yeah, we're waiting on so many, the DOD to approve the grants rather than holding a full series of special meetings.
I mean, it would be.
Well, I think we've got enough
With
to,
respect to
we've got
Ashley, it
enough
might be
to,
good to know the timing on the auditor's sale, and then we need to hold a special meeting to talk about it.
yeah, we've got enough issues that we need to deal with that I think we should go ahead and have an August meeting.
Okay, we
I
can,
would agree with that.
we can get one scheduled. I'll ask Sarah to go through the process of getting everybody's calendars
I will
coordinated, which is a
warn-
challenge.
I'll warn everybody, I'm out of the office next week, so it will not happen next week. It'll happen probably the week after or the last week of August.
Okay.
We can make that work.
Where are you going? Maybe we want to meet wherever you're going.
Delaware, Ohio.
Taking her kids to college,
Oh, that's,
it's not as much fun.
You've been here.
Okay. That's it. We stand adjourned. Thanks, everybody.